Oh. Narayana. There's a point in Lord Rama's life where he feels quite disturbed by all that he's observing around him. This is very much like Prince Siddhartha. When Prince Siddhartha sees all of the hardships around him, it disturbs him. It makes him inquire more. And so Lord Rama approaches his Kulaguru, that's Rishi Vashishta, and Rishi Vashishta starts to teach him. And this is called Yoga Vasishta. Huge, 32,000 verses. It's larger than Valmiki's Ramayana. And at one point, Lord Rama asks Rishi Vashishta, how do I know if I'm growing? Many of us inquire about this. How do we know if we're growing? And I just shared with everyone that the first 3 gauges of growth that are told to Lord Rama, one is Shubhecha, one becomes introspective. The next is Vicharana, one becomes a listener, a reflector. 3 is Tanumanasa, one becomes a contemplator. And if done well, this leads to 4, which is called Sattvapatti. Sattvapatti means the apatti of sattva. In other words, one tunes in to existence. One tunes into the truth. One tunes into nobility. And someone who's reached Sattvapatti, they see duality. They perceive what you and I perceive. They perceive sound and lights and rainbows and anger. They perceive all of that. No different than you and I, but they perceive with knowledge. So none of their perceptions is given more value than it deserves. They don't take life so seriously. In fact, this is described as, their perception is described as swapna. What does swapna mean? A dream. Now just visualize, if you and I can reach Sattvapatti, that all of our perception of whatever we do, every moment, we know that the foundation for all of this is existence, is awareness, is joy. Every moment, every experience, the foundation is joy. But that's only possible if you know, if you have the knowledge that truly the foundation is joy. Our Moha Mudgara course. Moha means delusion, where there's perception without knowledge. But we have this Mudgara, this hammer. And what is that hammer? Vidya. Vidya is the antidote to avidya. Avidya means I forget that my nature is joy. Vidya, I remember that my nature is joy. This is the vision for our course. And there's a whole series of shlokas that we've been focusing on, specifically in terms of relationships. Okay. And Adi Shankaracharya, Acharya Shankara asked, who is your mother? Who's your daddy? Right? They say casually. Who is your source? So we say my parents. Then the question applies to my parents. Who is your source? Their parents, my grandparents, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents. And you keep on going. And if you keep on going without a stop, logically, it's called infinite regress. There has to be an original parent whom we call Bhagwan. We say Mother Sita, correct? We say Jagadishvara, that Bhagwan Shiva is the father of this multiverse. Whenever we think of relationships, think more deeply about what is the source of all of your relationships. And if you do, you will tune into the source is the Creator. So your spouse has been shared with you by the Creator. Your sibling has the same nature as the Creator. Won't our relationship with all of our relationships change then? If I treat my wife, Sheila, as prasad from the Creator, won't I always be cheerful with her? Won't I feel that ananda? That's what Acharya Shankara is trying to teach us, is to tune into our original parent. And if you study Hanuman Chalisa, there's one chopai, Shankara Suvana Kesari Nandana. Hanumanji has 3 fathers and a mother. First father, Shankara. His nature is egolessness. Shankara, Suvana, Kesari, Nandana. Then we have Pavana. His father is the wind. Nature is purification. His father is Kesari. Kesari means lion. His biological father was a monkey, but a lion-like monkey. So courageous. His mother was Anjani. Jana means impurity. Anjana, no impurity. So we call him Anjaneya, correct? Hanumanji, he appreciated his parents so much, and he lived up to his parents. In fact, he raised the name of his parents, correct? Who would Anjani be if Hanumanji wasn't there, isn't it? Vayu would just be a devata if it weren't for Hanumanji. Our families are an opportunity to practice virtue development, to practice sadhana. Today when I was pretending to jog, this is why I jog alone, so I can just leave and then you can all think that I'm jogging, but really I'm just sitting and you think that I'm disciplined. I was thinking about all of my relationships and how what's unique about family is that you have to be with your family always, and you have to practice with your family always. See, with an acquaintance, out of sight, out of mind. Can you do that with your children? You want to, but not possible. When it comes to your siblings, when it comes to your in-laws, you may be angry at them, you even may express that anger, but you still have to go back to that relationship, right? You cannot burn bridges, isn't it? And I've thought, since I was young, I thought that all of the things I have to do for this body every day are such a waste. Why do I have to eat every day? Why do I have to sleep every day? Why do I have to bathe every day? Why do I have to brush my teeth every day? I sound like a 4-year-old right now. But it's just the body. With family, you also have to practice every day, isn't it? But that's a blessing because it's sadhana. When you and I change our vision with our family, there's not sambandha. They don't bind us to the lower, they bind us to the higher. And all of the younger people in our course. So, what's the determinant if you're younger or not? Physically, if you're 0 to 40, you're in this course to learn. And if you're 40 plus 1 day, you're in this course to unlearn. And that's why all of the younger people in this course, you are most blessed. And specifically, my mother and father were never taught to be independent, never taught to be detached when they got married. And I see the confrontation that attachment brings in all cases. But for Sheila and I, we were taught, be independent, have detachment. And it makes, there's conflict but no confrontation. It's so much smoother. And so all of you who are learning this, before you're in a significant relationship, you are blessed. The way that Lord Rama describes this independence, this detachment, it's like enjoying that coconut water and then letting go of the coconut. But you don't enjoy the coconut water and then just keep holding it, right? If you do, that's that attachment. It just becomes a burden. With a mango, imagine you suck out all the nectar from a mango, but then you keep the seed in your mouth forever. Problem. Think lots about your relationships and whether you are growing in your relationships or shrinking. Choice is up to you. We now shift to one of the most important shlokas in Bhaja Govindam. It's one of the most popular ones also. You and I are influential people. We influence others, correct? Good or bad. Kumati Nivara, Sumati ke Sangi. Some of us Kumati, some of us Sumati. But we are influential. And if we're influential, that also means we are influenced. Influential people, that means they're open to being influenced. Otherwise, they wouldn't be influential. So this shloka brings out the importance of who our influences are. Who are your friends? Please repeat after me. Shloka 9. Satsangatve nisangatvam.
Satsangatve nisangatvam.
Nisangatve nirmohatvam.
Nisangatve nirmohatvam.
Nirmohatve nischalatatvam.
Nirmohatve nischalatatvam.
Nischalatatve jivan muktihi.
Nischalatatve jivan muktihi.
Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudamate. Govindam, Bhaja Mudamate. The Flint group is new to this study group. They should be part of this, then they would know about our lead and follow. What does Acharya Shankara share here? He starts off by saying, being in Sangha of Sat. Sangha means association with Sat. When I say Sat, what comes to your mind? Purity, eternal, positivity, peace, truth, all good. The initial tuning into Sat is nobility. A noble person is inclusive, not exclusive. So when I tune into Sat, I see that you and I are connected. Higher than that, Sat is truth. That which is most universal is the truth. Universally, we all need oxygen, correct? Universally, we all don't need slushies or Twinkies or whatever it is. So, that which is universal is truth. And the highest form of Sat is what we define as existence, life. What is one aspect of this multiverse that if you deleted it, the multiverse would go away? Life or existence. If you take away existence, there is nothing. You can still take away oxygen, you can still take away energy, but you cannot take away existence. And you have to exist to take away existence, correct? So being in nobility, being in truth, being in existence, what this causes is nisangatvam. What does sangha mean? Attachment. Sangha means association with Sat. Here it's independent, so sangha means attachment. Nisanga, being without attachment. Now we just studied our shloka from chapter 2 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Where there is two-ness, what is there? Where there's duality? Fear, yes. What else? Where there is oneness, what is there? Shanti. Then taking that shanti away, we go ashanti then causes vikshepa or projections. Where there's vikshepa or projections, what's next? Raga or attachment. Where there's raga or attachment, what's next? Bhaya, fear. Where there's bhaya or fear, there is krodha, anger. How many people have an anger management problem? Please put your hand up. You're telling me you don't have an anger management problem. All of the people who don't have their hands up. See, we're all trying to fight anger, but really we have to fight attachment, which comes from shanti, that's sat. See the beauty of all of this. When you and I are content, we don't project. Even now, if you're listening to what I'm saying, you will be content right here, right now. You don't need dinner, you don't need television, you don't need the World Series. You are content. So you don't project. You live right here, right now. I had shared with all of you, people who multitask are unhappy. They can't find happiness here, over here. Not over here, over here. The business world, isn't it? So, satsangatve, nisangatva. Acharya Shankara then shares, nisangatve. When you are independent, what happens then is nirmohatva. When you and I are independent, what happens is we start to perceive with knowledge. What did I call that earlier? Sattvapatti. Sattvapatti is you still perceive, but you have knowledge, so you don't give any vices, any negativity, reality. Moha is when you and I are unsure of what we are perceiving. But nirmoha is we are perceiving, but we're sure of it because we have knowledge. And more specifically, someone who is nirmoha has less likes and dislikes. In the advanced Vedanta course, the raw that they were given this week was to not use the words good and bad for a full week. No good work, no bad boy, no good weather, no bad election, etc., etc., etc. Imagine you can't use good and bad towards the election either. When we have less likes and dislikes, we have more dharma, more integration, more responsibility. Likes and dislikes take us away from our responsibilities. Okay? So satsang, I'm associating with nobility. When I do that, I become more independent. When I'm more independent, what happens is nischala tattvam. Independence makes me responsible. Responsibility makes nischala tattvam. Chala means to move. Achala means to be unmoving. So you can use words like steadfast, unshaken. Why do you and I take compliments so seriously? Because we take criticism so seriously. Compliments shake us a lot. So then right after the compliment ends, what comes next? Criticism. But if you don't take compliments so seriously, if you're not shaken by that, when the criticism comes, you're not shaken by that either. Unshaken. When there's change, you know the purpose of change, so it's just training. It's not a problem. Taking this to the context of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, what is the summary word for chapter 1? Fear. I just spent a full hour describing this. Fear. Fear is a symptom. Chapter 2, what is the summary word? Selfishness. Fear comes from selfishness. That is the source. And then the solution to this source, chapter 3, selflessness. The Sanskrit words to describe this is, selfishness is called sakama. Sakama karma. I engage in actions for my desires, sakama. Chapter 3, Lord Krishna tells Prince Arjuna, go from sakama to nishkama. Nishkama means you should engage in actions but for others, family, community, humanity, divinity. And if there's nishkama, it leads to chitta shuddhi. It leads to purity of mind, and the best gauge of purity of mind is your mind is quiet. When you lie down in bed, you're asleep in less than 5 minutes. When your alarm clock goes off, you're up in less than 5 minutes. When you're in no multitasking mode, you don't multitask. You can be alone. You don't need to have the radio on. In other words, less input. Swami Tejomayananda says, when the heart is full, the stomach is full. When the mind is quiet, you don't need as many inputs. When you and I engage in dharma, our responsibilities, we come to realize this achala. We come to realize that there's more to us than the body, mind, intellect, ego, that there is the spirit. Today when I was driving from Niagara to London, I was consciously trying to be aware of my car, the car seat, the driver, the thinker. And then today when I went for a jog, I was trying to be aware of my jogging circumstances, the forest, the jogger, the thinker. And I realized everything changed. I went from a car to the forest, from a thinker thinking about administration to a thinker about a discourse. But what didn't change between earlier in the day and later in the day was existence didn't change. Awareness also didn't change. What was in front of awareness changed, but the awareness didn't change. And that made me happier. That everything else is not so serious. Ananda. Our achala, our spirit is ever present. But to see it, you have to be responsible. To be responsible, you have to be independent. To be independent, you have to associate with nobility. And finally, Acharya Shankara says, Nischala Tattve, when you are in your spirit, that is called Jivan Muktihi. You are free while you're alive. Freedom while living means you act not for fulfillment, but out of fulfillment. That's freedom. Where it's not about what you, a lust for life, what can I get from life, but a love for life. What can I give to life? And this is most succinctly shared by Acharya Shankara in the Atma Shatakam, also known as Nirvana Shatakam. Last message in the 6th verse is Na muktihi, there is no freedom because na bandha, there is no bondage. Freedom is only needed if you're bound, but if there's no bondage, there's no freedom. That's us. We are free, but we're not associating with that. So once again, step number 1, associate with nobility. It's like a chain reaction. If you do this, this leads to step 2, which is independence, which causes number 3, which is responsibility, which causes number 4, which is awareness. Awareness that there's more to you than meets the eye, which leads to number 5, which is freedom. And how did it start? What is your influence? Who are your friends? And in the reading, which all of you must have done, Pujya Swami Chinmayananda says the 3 levels of satsang. Here's where you start, okay? Satsang begins with people. It begins with positive people, virtuous people, noble people. Now, can you be with such people all the time? We just talked about family. Not possible. Our workplaces, our volunteers, right? We're all sevakas and sevikas, but we like being with some sevikas more and some sevakas less, isn't it? So, if you can't be with noble people, you can be with the words of noble people. The words of noble people, such as Mahatma Gandhi's My Experiment with Truth. Swami Chinmayananda's, he did it. You know that book, Chicken Soup for the Soul? Did I tell you what our Sattvic version should be? Yellow dal for the Atman. Moong dal for the Atman. That's what we should we should call it. Right? Or khichdi for the for the Atman. With the words of noble people. That's subtler. Okay? It's less in your face almost. But the subtlest form of satsang is not with noble people, not with the words of noble people, but with the thoughts of noble people. They become your thoughts. The way that Paramahansa Yogananda shares this, he says, every night ask yourself, did the Pandavas win or did the Kauravas win? If there was more can thoughts, that leads to confidence, Pandavas. If there was more can't thoughts, lack of confidence, Kauravas. So with the thoughts of noble people. This is the heart. There's many hearts in this Moha Mudgara course. This is a heart. This is what will keep us alive as seekers. And Swami Tejumayananda had shared, we underestimate how much protection we need. We overestimate physically, but underestimate mentally. Be vigilant about who your influences are. And how do you know if you're being vigilant? Whenever there's vikshepa, projection, this will make me happy, I don't like that person, etc., right away, vichara starts also. Reflection starts also to cut that vikshepa. If I can just have this, I'll be happy. But if you think about it, how false that sounds just saying it, isn't it? The last scene of Peaceful Warrior, that's what's shown. Where that one athlete says, I get to be happy if I win a gold medal. And you see Dan, he's just kind of looking around because he used to be like that. And realize that gold medal, after you win one, you need another, you need another. You lose. Narayana. How many of you did your raw from last week? I need to see this. Please keep your hands up so I can see all of the courageous people who tried this. Okay, very good. Lots of people. How was it? If you're near your computer, please tell me how it was. Their raw was that they have to talk in third person to their family. So if I was talking to Sheila, I can't say, I want to speak to you. I would have to say, Vivek wants to speak to you. So with family, to talk in third person. So any feedback from anyone? You gave up after the first interaction. Here's the point of this raw. The point of this raw was to treat an object as a object. To treat an object as an object. Everyone calls you by a different name, isn't it? Some pronounce your name correctly, some people pronounce your name incorrectly. I grew up being called Vicky from my family. Then it turned into Vivek in high school. Then it turned into double V in early university. Then it turned to Vivek, then Vivek G, and then a lot of names that Sheila calls me, some positive, some negative. But they're just a name. The body's the same way, isn't it? We've known each other for 8 years. Do we look better or worse over the last 8 years? Treat objects as objects. Then you will see the subject. But as long as you treat objects as a subject, what happens to the actual subject? It's not there. Very deep sadhana if you can try again. Here is your raw for the upcoming week. Your raw is every morning and every evening I want you to bow down to your copy of Bhajagovindam. Every morning and every evening I want you to bow down, prostrate to your copy of Bhajagovindam. So if you don't have one, you need to have one. Okay? And think. Think about why I'm asking you to do this. It sounds funny, and it sort of is in my mind, but it's much deeper than that. Now to wrap up, I obviously won't have time to address any questions because I've just finished a discourse in Flint. We will have our class on November 10th and November 17th. We will have a holiday on November 24th. It is Thanksgiving in the States. Many of us will be in Trinidad for our yatra. We will have class on December 1st, 8th, and 15th. So 6 more classes coming up. 3 in November, 3 in December. That will be 15 classes for this semester. Okay? 15 classes this semester, 16 classes next semester. We will finish the Moha Mudgara course and most likely start our meditation and life course in September. I just wanted to be clear about our schedule. Okay? We will have our community call 1 week from today, November 10th, from 9 to 10 p.m. And it will be a very important community call because I pray for all of our American friends on November 8th. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha. I am leaving early on Tuesday, Monday morning to come back to Canada for my well-being. So I'll see you all next week. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.